Continuing coverage of breaking news, we've been bringing you all morning long in the daylight. We're getting a closer look live over Philadelphia, where a huge fire is burning at an oil refinery. You can see flames bursting through one of the buildings. Our sister station is reporting the fire is at Philadelphia Energy Solutions. That's in South Philadelphia. We start with breaking news out of Lansing. The coronavirus has made its way to Michigan, the state now confirming its first cases. Governor Gretchen Whitmer made the announcement last night. The two cases are in Oakland and Wayne counties. The Oakland County resident traveled internationally. The Wayne County resident traveled domestically. Both have been described as middle-aged. So far in Michigan, 77 people have been tested for coronavirus. 57 of those came back negative. 2 came back positive that we just told you about. 18 results are still pending. The rest are being actively monitored. Governor Whitmer has now declared a state of emergency to maximize efforts and slow the spread of the virus.
It's crucial that Michiganders continue to take preventative measures. There are easy things that we can do to lower risk and risk of transmission.
Those easy things include wash your hands with soap and water, avoid touching your face, cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough, avoid contact with anyone that's sick, and most importantly, stay at home and contact your doctor if you're not feeling well.
Election Day, Michigan takes center stage in the run for the White House. A last look at candidates before you cast your ballot. The worst day on Wall Street since 2008. Hear from investors on their growing concern of the coronavirus. A disappointing day when no one showed up to a little girl's birthday party. How her community turned it into one she'll now never forget.
6 o'clock now as we take a live look over the Straits of Mackinac this morning. You can see it's a messy start to the day, Mark.
Yeah, we've had some snow and rain and a mixture of a variety of weather types. If you're going out this morning, it's a slow drive and watch where you're walking. If you're going out to do anything, including voting this morning, you fight the weather. But midday and afternoon, I think it's going to be really nice to get out and certainly going to get some sunshine later on.
As we inch closer to Election Day, we wanted to know if early voting favored a specific candidate or a party over another. Hannah Knowles from our sister station spoke with a political science expert who joins us live right now in Kalamazoo County. And Hannah, this is of course expected to be a very close race. Does early voting have an impact on anyone?
Well, when we think about early voting and the effects it had on Super Tuesday, political experts say it's hard to tell if early voting will favor one candidate over the other. One thing we can judge the outcome on, though, is exit polls. Now, Dr. Justin Berry, a political science professor at K College, says recent polls show voters who made their decision in the last days leading up to Super Tuesday were more likely to support former Vice President Joe Biden. On the other hand, those who casted their votes earlier were more likely to vote for Senator Bernie Sanders. Now, approximately 3/4 of the states in the U.S. have some form of early voting. Berry says it's important to think about early votes in terms of turnout. By allowing early votes in bigger states like Michigan, which is considered to be a key battleground state moving forward for the Democratic primary, increased turnout is more likely, as well as engagement in the political process.
If we think about what we know about Super Tuesday, voters who cast their vote early prior to Super Tuesday, prior to the endorsements, prior to the results in South Carolina, were more likely to support Bernie Sanders, who at the time was the front runner in the race. So if you think about the different demographics, it's kind of unclear which direction or which candidate would benefit from early voting.
Berry says exit polls suggest African Americans as well as the older populations are strong supporters of Joe Biden thus far. On the other hand, students and younger voters seem to be leaning towards Bernie Sanders. Now, if you did vote and your candidate dropped out of the race, you can still spoil your ballot until 4 p.m. today in the state of Michigan. Reporting live in Kalamazoo County, Hannah Knowles, back to you.
All eyes on Michigan last night with election results pouring in across the state and the nation. 352 delegates. That's the prize Democratic contenders went toe-to-toe for in 6 different states. Now, the biggest prize was our state with 125 delegates at stake. Michigan has now been called in favor of Joe Biden. Unofficial results show Joe Biden has 53% of the vote, Sanders coming in at 37%. In Philadelphia, Biden addressed a small audience of campaign staffers after canceling his planned election night rally in Cleveland due to coronavirus concerns. Biden reached out to rival Bernie Sanders and his supporters and said in order to beat Trump in November, the party must unite.
I want to thank Bernie Sanders and his supporters for their tireless energy and their passion. We share a common goal, and together, we'll defeat Donald Trump.
Results in North Dakota and Washington state are still too close to call. And while he will be the candidate for the Republican Party, President Trump did still appear on ballots yesterday for the primary. President Trump has taken more than 90% of votes here in Michigan. And this was the first big election where anyone could vote absentee in Michigan without a reason. Last night, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson gave us an update on how the process went.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways for today is not just the need for more people to stand up and be a part of our democratic process this fall, but also to not just expand the number of hours that our clerks have to process absentee ballots, but to really prepare our infrastructure for what I estimate will be 2 million or more people casting ballots from home this fall. Our system has never handled that level of absentee ballots. We can expect, based on the numbers today, that those numbers will come into fruition this fall. And so we're going to be working with our clerks and hopefully with partners in the legislature in the months ahead to prepare our infrastructure to effectively process those ballots smoothly this November.
Northern Michigan had many local issues on ballots. In Benzie County, 81% said yes to renew a 911 telephone surcharge fee. The funds help maintain dispatch equipment like computers and radios. They also help with car costs related to 911 services. Benzie County residents also voted yes to renew a millage that helps fund the Benzie Bus public transit system. The millage will continue bringing in around $600,000 a year. That's about 1/3 of the annual budget for Benzie Bus. Now, the executive director tells us it's an important service because Benzie County doesn't have rideshare services like Uber and Lyft. There was at least one voting hiccup in northern Michigan yesterday. Presqu'île Township Hall ran out of Democratic ballots. The clerk says Presqu'île is a mostly Republican county, so organizers didn't have enough Democratic ballots. Those ballots were gone by 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. One voter told 7 and 4 News they had to wait 2 hours for a ballot. The township clerk said it was closer to 40 minutes.
I am an American citizen and I have a right to vote. And I came to my polling place on voting day and was told by the poll workers I could not vote because they ran out of ballots.
It took a little time and the people some of them got quite angry, but everybody has a right to vote. It's your privilege. So we wanted to make sure that everybody would have the ballot, and we did.
And the clerk told us that the mishap did not impact how quickly votes in the township were counted.
Well, the first day of school will be here before we know it, and health officials want to make sure one thing is on parents' checklists. Aside from all those books and backpacks, the Grand Traverse County Health Department is reminding parents to make sure their student has the immunizations they need. Staff say August and September are the busiest months for immunizations, so they double up on clinics to accommodate as many people as possible. On Monday, Governor Whitmer issued a proclamation declaring August as Immunization Awareness Month. Now, I have 2 school-age kids at home myself, and I was wondering about the immunization rates here in Michigan and how those numbers compare nationally. Now, the numbers here, these come from America's Health Rankings from United Health Foundation, compiled from CDC survey data from 2017, and they represent kids ages 19 to 35 months. For kids categorized as living above poverty, Michigan ranks slightly higher than the national average, at about 75% of kids being immunized compared to roughly 74% nationally. However, when you look at the immunization numbers for kids living below poverty, both numbers drop. Nationally, the rate drops to about 63%, and here in Michigan, less than 55% of kids aged 19 to 35 months are immunized.
Well, that bell closed the worst day on Wall Street since 2008. It was a hectic day that saw the Dow drop more than 2,000 points, losing 7.8% of its value. During a press conference yesterday, President Trump addressed the stock market drop and says he plans to meet with the Senate today about a possible payroll tax cut and other measures to help hourly wage workers. Vice President Mike Pence, who has led the coronavirus task force, has also confirmed more than 1 million test kits have been distributed all across the country, with 4 million more on the way. Taking a live look over Capitol Hill this morning, an $8.3 billion emergency spending package to address the coronavirus outbreak is now on its way to the president's desk. The Senate approved the House-passed bill yesterday. The legislation provides the federal government funds to combat the coronavirus. President Trump is expected to sign the bill into law later today. Protests erupted in Raleigh, North Carolina Tuesday after officials say a police officer shot an armed African-American man. Police officers responded to a 911 call about a man with a gun. A person matching the description ran from police, and officers ordered the suspect to drop his gun while they chased him. Officials say an officer shot the man once. Residents quickly started protesting. They're demanding answers right now from the chief of police. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations is looking into the incident. Lots more to come here on a Monday edition of 7 and 4 News Today. At 6:04, Governor Gretchen Whitmer making a stop here in northern Michigan today, where you can have your questions answered by our state's top leader. At 6:50, it's Military Monday. We're taking a moment to recognize those who serve right from northern Michigan. And at 6:55, it's Morning Rush. Look at everything you need to know before you start your day. Plus, Mark is here. He's keeping a close eye on your Monday morning commute. We'll be right back.